Hello, good morning. This is Breakfast with Rachel Burden and Roger Johnson.
Good morning. Here is a summary of today's main stories from BBC News. There's fresh concern over the growing spread of coronavirus after more than 3,000 cases were recorded in the UK on consecutive days. And that's the first time that's happened since mid-May. Sir John Major and Tony Blair have joined forces to criticise Boris Johnson's plan to override part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement. Thousands of women are enduring the unimaginable anguish of having to give birth alone due to COVID-19 rules, according to a group of MPs. Time for the sport, and what a start to the Premier League. This is exactly what we needed, isn't it, Holly? Now, despite their size and their strength, Newfoundland dogs are known as gentle giants. They have webbed feet and they're really powerful swimmers, which make them perfectly suited to assisting with water rescues.
In Leicestershire, they are also being used as emotional support dogs, helping those in the armed forces to recover from post-traumatic stress disorder. Amy Payne has been to see them. Amy Payne with that report. They're beautiful dogs, aren't they?
Yes, they are huge.
So
they would need some looking after in your own home, though,
Yes.
wouldn't they? Amazing. Now, local restrictions have been brought into force for some businesses and households across the UK, and with it a familiar feeling of uncertainty.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, areas subject to stricter measures, like, for example, Bolton or Birmingham, have seen businesses suffer the most. Our business correspondent, Katie Prescott's got this report. See what it's looking like this Sunday morning. Good morning to you, Ben. Is that... I always hesitate to ask, is that taken this morning? Is that already? Wow. And thanks very much for the return of summer.
Yeah, loads of great weather to look forward to. Right, it's 6:48 time for the film review with Mark Kermode.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Rachel Burden and Roger Johnson.
Our headlines today. Morning, it is Sunday the 13th of September. Our top story. There is fresh concern over the growing spread of coronavirus after more than 3,000 cases were recorded in the UK on consecutive days for the first time since mid-May.
In towns and cities across the UK last night, many people took the opportunity to enjoy a night out before new COVID restrictions come into force tomorrow. Simon Jones reports.
Nearly a third of people who should still be working from home, even when coronavirus restrictions have eased, according to the Welsh Government.
Ministers said that its ambition is to see about 30% of the workforce in Wales staying at or near home in the long term. They argue the move could reduce congestion and pollution and would improve work-life balance, as Thomas Morgan reports.
Sir John Major and Tony Blair have joined forces to criticise Boris Johnson's plan to override part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement.
Writing in the Sunday Times today, the former Conservative and Labour Prime Ministers say that his move is shocking and irresponsible. Well, let's talk to our...
Search and rescue teams have been brought in to help search for dozens of people missing in Oregon as deadly wildfires continue to sweep through the US West Coast.
Now, it's a staple date on the music calendar, but for the first time in its history, the last night of the proms last night saw no flag waving or mass sing-along inside the Royal Albert Hall.
Now, the show had been swept up in controversy after the BBC reversed its decision not to sing Rule Britannia and Land of Hope and Glory. Our arts editor, Will Gompertz, was watching.
Spectacular night nonetheless. 11 minutes past 7 now. Those are the main stories this morning. We're going to move on to talk about coronavirus. New rules on how many people we can socialise with come into effect in England, Wales and Scotland from tomorrow.
But there are concerns about how they will be enforced and whether businesses like pubs and restaurants have been given enough time to prepare for the changes.
Joining us now is some fixed penalty, £50 if you pay it within 40
If you pay it early. And in fact, while we're talking numbers, it's probably worth going over the numbers. So yesterday, 3,497 coronavirus cases positive cases reported in the UK, 9 deaths. And the new rules, just to remind you, it's a rule of 6. Now, in England, that means 6 from multiple numbers of households. That's meeting up indoors. In Scotland and Northern Ireland, it's a rule of 6, but only from 2 households. In Wales, it's a rule of 6 indoors, but you can meet up to 4 households. And then don't forget, Scotland and Wales both have this kids don't count rule. So if you are 11 and under, that doesn't count towards the number of 6. So, I mean, hopefully that is, broadly speaking, clear, depending on where you live in the UK.
Well remembered, to be honest. You did it all. I've got it.
I have drilled it into my head.
And we didn't mention Northern Ireland. That's 6 from 2 households with a ban on indoor gatherings. Get it right. A ban on indoor gatherings in areas with enhanced restrictions.
Well, yeah, and there are, of course, we should remember that there are, individual lockdown areas in every part of the United Kingdom as well.
Right, it's 19 minutes past 7. Let's have a look at the weather forecast, see what it's looking like this morning. Ben is here. Morning, Ben. Much, Ben. See you shortly.
Now, this morning, tens of thousands of runners would have been preparing to head to the start line to take place in the Great North Run. It would have been an amazing day for spectators, wouldn't
Absolutely,
it?
nice day for running too,
Yeah.
as long as it's not too warm, actually. Like most events, it was cancelled, of course, due to coronavirus. However, it has not stopped some people from taking on the distance all the same.
Alison Freeman is in Blythe for us this morning. What's happening there, Alison? Well, we're joined now by the founder of the Great North Run, Brendan Ford. All the very best. And if you're one of those people actually taking part this morning, wherever you are in the country, and you're up and about and getting ready
Lots
for
of
it.
people have been in touch already.
Well, this will be breakfast time at 7:30, so a couple of hours before the start of the race. This is where you'll be fueling up. So is it an egg sandwich like Brendan? Is it a bowl of porridge? How do you fuel your day? What's your routine, your regime getting warmed up? We'd love to hear from you this morning. Any pictures as well, send them to us here.
7:30, stay with us, headlines are on the way. Hello, good morning, this is Breakfast with Rachel Bird.
And it's straight to the sport now. Holly, what an incredible start to the... Now, it wasn't quite business as usual at this year's last night at the Proms. Barely a flag in sight, and the impact of the pandemic very clear. There was nobody there for a start, apart from
very
the performers.
few people. Yeah, traditional songs, including Rule Britannia and Land of Hope and Glory, they were performed following that controversial and public row.
But the talking point of the night is likely to be perhaps the reworking of prom favourite Jerusalem by composer Erilyn Wallen. We'll speak to her in a moment, but first, take a look at last night's performance.
Last night at the last night of the Proms, Erilyn Wallen, the composer, talking to us.
And we should say as well, the South African soprano Golda Schultz, who performed at Jerusalem, I mean, what an astonishing voice. What a gift to be able to produce sound like that. Incredible. The Andrew Marr Show is on BBC One, 9 o'clock. What's on the agenda this morning, Andrew?
Right, let's have a look at the weather forecast, shall we? We've got Click on the way for you in just a couple of minutes, but Ben has this morning's forecast. Morning, Ben.